Hi, and welcome to HUR at Home Music and More Night. You know, that kind of rhymes with the last name of our special guest tonight. Who? Well, it's Kenny Lattimore. I couldn't wait to have him back. I mean, we all love him in the DMV. We love him at WHUR, and he's been around doing his thing for so long, and he's got a great new CD out, and it's called Here to Stay, and that's for a reason. In fact, I need to ask him what the meaning is, other than what it sounds like the meaning is of that song title. So please welcome my dear friend. I mean, I love him so much. I think you already know that because I talk about him all the time. Kenny Lattimore.
Hey, thank
Woo!
you.
Oh,
It's good to
listen,
see you again.
it's always really good to see you. And you know what? I have to thank you for making the time. I mean, we decided to go ahead and pre-record this particular show because you're heading back to South Africa.
Yeah, I'm so excited, and yeah, we definitely anytime that Angela calls or
Oh,
WHUR, I have to stop everything.
I love that.
So
You know what?
we're getting out of the country, but I'm happy that you were able to accommodate this interview as well. And
Thank you.
I appreciate the platform always letting people know what I'm doing. This is how we survive as artists. This is how we do it, and
That's
I
right.
appreciate you for it.
Oh, but listen, we're always happy. I mean, you put out such great music you have since
Thank,
the very beginning, and it's a
thank
a very important part of WHUR. I mean, that's what we do. We find good music, good
you.
artists, and we are loyal. And so we're
I
happy that
love
you are too.
that. Yeah.
So, how many times have you been to South Africa performing?
Whoa.
They love you.
Over 10, 15 different times. I mean, because I've gone through almost every city in the country. And, but we've been going to South Africa since 98. My
Wow.
first time there was for Nelson Mandela's 80th birthday,
Oh,
which was
beautiful.
completely spectacular. And the last
I
time
love him, by the way.
oh,
I
yeah.
was so honored to have an opportunity to be in his presence
Mm.
at Bill Clinton's inauguration.
Oh,
And
nice.
at the
Yeah.
ball, I'm sitting right next to President Nelson Mandela. That's a long
Truly a
time.
regal man, right?
Oh my God.
Tall,
Tall,
statuesque, very
gentle.
regal, and charismatic,
Yeah.
confident. Just wow, he was incredible.
Yeah. Just kind of such an elevated human being,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
right?
And
So
I got so caught up in his story and read his book
me too.
A long walk to freedom.
Yeah.
Coming back, thick book because he had so many memoirs, so many things in there. But it was truly an inspiration of humility and
It's so true. And you learn a lot just
yeah,
about humanity and just how to, be a better person yourself. He talked about how he taught his children just how to read the newspapers and the parts to go for to learn what's really important and what's going
yeah.
on in the world. And I'm right there with you, Kenny. So yeah, so I'm sure they're happy to have you back. You've been going since 98.
98.
Yeah. Yeah.
98. It's been a
Fantastic.
long time. I'm so happy. It's like a second home almost.
I can see that. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We're glad that you're still living in the United
Yeah.
States, still putting out good music.
Yeah.
So, I mentioned right before I brought you on that I wanted to ask you about the song title. I mean, Here to Stay. I mean, obviously, it sounds like you're saying you're here to stay, but is there anything else that goes with that?
You know what? I guess it's two things. I am here to stay, as in I'm dedicated to continually sing these love songs that bring inspiration to people around the world, to the hearts of women and the minds of men, to encourage them in love. My
Right.
mission. But the actual title of the album was made by Claude Villani, who is my partner at SRG for this album, Here to Stay. He listened to all of the songs after we finished, and he just came back and he said, "You know what? What do you think about the album being called Here to Stay?" So I took that pause, and stepped
Yeah.
back. And I was like, "You know what? It makes sense because so many people are not here,
Yeah.
so or not in this." Well, we know that there's some people that have passed on who were amazing artists and very influential in the same
Right.
manner that I am, but then there's some who just don't do new music. So Here to Stay is a dedication to me continuing to do new contemporary R&B uh,
Mm.
at a time in my career when a lot of times people are like, okay, he's just going to live off of his catalog. Or
Right. Which could easily do.
Right.
You've got quite an extensive catalog.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
you've been doing this for how many years now?
Wow. As a solo artist, we started in 96. So we've got 22 years. So, I mean, 22, 27 years or so.
Wow. Young as you
So
are.
but I actually, for all my DMV folks know that I was in the group Mannequin back in 87. So give me 10 more years on top of that.
Okay.
When I started with Epic Records and the group Mannequin. So I've been in the industry for, wow, over 30 some years, almost 40 years.
Here to stay, baby.
It's like really crazy when I think about how long it's been, but successful enough for me to eat off this music for like 27.
Thank God for that, because like you said, I mean, there are a lot of great artists and a lot of great artists come and go.
Mm-hmm.
There are some who put out, one hit, everybody loves it.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're not trying to get some attention, but they just don't. They're still making music, but nobody hears it.
And that is a big, huge point. I was just talking to some young people earlier today, and I was explaining that being a part of the music industry is so much bigger than just the song. You can have one of the best songs ever and it not be promoted properly. Right. And in the hands of the company or the promoters or whoever that can make it work. And I've watched so much happen between leaving the major labels and doing this independently. So Here to Stay is primarily an independent project. Yeah. I do have some major label support with UMG and the SRG label, but for the most part, I have to make the decisions. I have to control the budgets. I have to be the one to call the shots about the promotion in my career. And a lot of times people probably think that the label is doing stuff, and no, they're not. They are partners and they're doing other things for me, but I'm the one that is creating this music, the imaging, it's my own personal team.
Good.
Whereas back in the day, there used to be, we'd go in and the label would do everything for you and spend millions of dollars. So I have a lot of people say, well, what do you like? Do you like the independent versus the major? Two very different things. I'm very grateful to have been on Columbia Records and Arista and a lot of the other major labels. I probably recorded for like 10 of them.
Yeah.
But it's their marketing contacts and power that made me known.
Yeah.
And so that as an independent artist, it is a lot easier for me to do it now, because when we go in to promote something, it's a brand that already exists that people are familiar with. So it makes a difference.
They know you. They know your name. They know music, and they know, I mean, all of your concerts are just sold out, thank God.
Yeah,
and and I love it. I love that you bring it all at your shows too. I mean, a lot of people don't
leave it all on the stage.
Leave it all on the stage. I mean, a lot of people, maybe before they got there, they didn't know that you were classically trained. And I love when you get up there and you'll belt out an aria. And people are like, wait a minute. This is the real deal. You have a lot. You have a lot to give. You still have so much more to give. And so I'm happy that you are still doing your thing. You mentioned something that's so interesting, how I remember when you first came on the scene, and, I always felt like you should have just shot right up there with your talent. And I mean, you're the total package, really.
Thank you so much.
But
it's been a journey.
It's a journey. I mean, when you talk about just the major labels having all the power, they do have the machine behind them. And of course, they can market you, and they've got, unlimited resources to do that. But the downside is they get to make the decisions on who's going to be front and center, right? Yeah. And I think, we've had these conversations that the timing of when you came out, I mean, it's like, really, people? Right, just watching.
There was a lot coming out then, wasn't it?
A lot.
You had survived in 96 and 97 when you had D'Angelo, Maxwell, Joe, Eric Benet, Jesse Powell. Then you had, Erykah Badu and Deborah Cox. There was so many amazing artists that were coming out at the same time.
Yeah.
And there was something that was unfortunate for me, and that was Columbia Records decided there was going to be one male vocalist that they concentrated on in terms of taking them to the next level. And the artist that they chose was Maxwell, which was fine. I'm a Maxwell fan to this day. I love him, and I love his music, and he's been very gracious to me. He had nothing to do with that except to be a great artist himself.
Exactly.
And whatever his artistry was at that time, it resonated well with the record label. And I never talked about it because I didn't want anybody to misconstrue what I was saying.
I understand.
I think that I was being bitter and
Right.
saying, "Oh, well, they chose him." But no, he was amazing. The issue, thank God, came out in my unsung that I did later on in telling my life story, and it didn't come out from me. It came out from the actual executives that made the decision.
What
So
is
they
it?
honestly came out. Mr. Michael Malls, and I'm grateful for him. He's my big brother. Jermaine Dupri's dad, for some of you who know him from that connection. So being Jermaine Dupri's father, I mean, you're talking about somebody that knows the industry, that knows the ins and outs, and he was the president of Columbia's Black Music Division in the beginning.
Okay.
But what happened was they thought that Maxwell was an easier thing for them to market. He was sexy. He was more raw. I was like more of a pop singer, like a male version of Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we had all of Sony on board for me to be that, because then you have to have the pop division connected with the R&B vision,
Right.
saying this guy singing For You and all that. These should be
Right.
worldwide hits. All My Tomorrows, and also for my second CD, and these are huge hits in South Africa.
Okay.
But in the United States, the record label did not understand. This is kind of deep, but seeing, I think, a Black man who was saying, for you, I give a lifetime of stability, anything you want. That was not who Black men were marketed as.
Exactly, which is so unfortunate that
Yeah.
they lacked vision at
Yeah,
that time.
but it was so deep because in our society, we were, the whole thug image, hip hop was getting bigger, and any young Black man was put into that category.
Yeah.
This is who he should be if he's young and he's Black. This is what he should represent. And I just wasn't that. The great part was that I didn't try to fake it. Oh,
Thank God for that.
oh,
That wouldn't have worked. That
I
is
didn't
not
try to
who you are.
fit in. Yeah. And I knew I could never do that. Coming from Howard University,
Yeah.
my classic music and all, and my classical and all that, I said that's not going to fit. I've never wanted to start flipping around trying to become something for anyone. I want to remain authentic, and at some point, the authenticity will shine through, and I love it because 20, 25 years, however many years later, what I do became more in style.
Because it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and thank God you didn't do the flip flop and acquiesce to whatever's current. What do you guys want?
Right. What do you want?
A lot of people did. A lot of people did.
I felt like I did compromise a little, just a tiny bit. But the only compromise I made was I wanted to work with younger writers because it made me feel like and people don't know this. I never really talked about this, but I went through a period where I didn't think I could write anymore. I didn't feel like it was relevant because the industry beat me down. I was not going to give up, but I definitely got my share of blows to my artistry and to my singing. I had a lot of things that were said during a time period, and I used an album called Timeless to regain my voice. Timeless was an album around 2006 where I sang all cover songs, and I got criticized heavily by the industry by it, but I needed Timeless to regain my voice and hear what I sounded like again. And it was a very significant project for my growth so that I could do original music again.
Good for you. Good for you for figuring that out. It's like, what does Lattimore need right now? And to have the strength to do that. I love that you're like brilliantly talented, and
Thank
not
you.
just with the singing and the writing. You know, you and I got really close when we had an opportunity to be in a play together. I don't do it.
Yeah.
I
Y'all don't know.
loved it.
Angela was my wife
I
once.
was
Look.
your wife. You're my boo. Tell the judge, nothing to worry about
Right?
here.
Not in a play, though.
It was a play. But are you doing any more of that? Are you doing any more acting, and do you want to?
I would love to do more acting. It's been another like part of my journey to find the right roles that will
Good.
be an extension of me and my growth, but at the same time, things that will complement my brand, so that people are not like, oh, "What is this? What is it?"
You
So
mean you wouldn't be a gangster? You wouldn't take
see,
the
I
role?
could now. I could do
I
that
think I
now.
could. I don't know. Don't rule it out. Wait, let
But
me.
right, get serious now. But
Okay, I'll swap gangster.
right. So it's
I
really
mean,
about
but are you like?
all coming. I've been doing a lot more
Yeah.
music for films and television.
Oh,
Ava
okay.
DuVernay even just used my "Lose You" song in "Cherish the Day." I would love something like that. Like
Oh,
"Cherish the Day" would be amazing to have
beautiful.
because it that would encompass the real pulse of my music and the meaning and purpose of it in film and television.
Hmm.
I think what she does with Queen Sugar, all of that is like really amazing.
Okay, I love that. Well, you're still in the. You'd be in the music or movie industry. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
sometimes acting,
So when we start
sometimes.
to act, that'll be great when I can act and pull them all together into
But
one. So that would be
oh,
incredible.
well, I mean, have you ever thought about writing something for, like
Wow.
maybe writing a script for yourself, a role
You
that you
know,
see yourself in?
I'm not confident that I could do it myself. Almost like when I started working with the young writers, the reason why was because I wanted to get closer to what the pulse of the music industry was, where it was going. So I
Which is
became a
smart.
student all over again.
Yeah.
And becoming a student, I feel the same way for script and film. I would love to work with some great writers to come up with something that would make sense for me. That would be the ultimate.
That would be. I will be on the lookout for that.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. So, all right, here we are, here to stay.
Hmm.
Your latest project.
Hmm.
You already know that I love Lose You and I love Take a Dose.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God, those are my.
Yeah, you were one of the first out the gate to support those.
Woo! Oh, good.
Take a Dose is about to be a top 10 single, and
Nice.
people are hearing this music now like they used to. And that's what it
Nice.
really is. It's like they used to. It's not that I haven't been making it, but it's
Right.
about the exposure of it. So and again, I appreciate you for that.
Oh yeah. Well, it's from the heart, and again, it's such good music. How could we not?
Thank
You know,
you.
I want to ask you something. As an independent artist,
Mhm.
versus back in the day when, or not back in the day, but when you're with a major label,
Sure.
they'll choose a song and say, okay, this is what we're going to lead with. This is the song right now. And then
Yeah.
after a certain amount of time, they're like, okay, now we're going to do this one. How do you do it now? Like, for radio stations to start playing, okay, this is the new single, or do you give them the project and say, play what you want?
You know
How's
what?
it
I
work?
have a team of people. There's a guy named Ken Wilson that I work with who is a phenomenal promotions expert.
Mhm.
And I give my albums to Ken and I say, Ken, what is resonating
Good.
with your ear and the pulse of radio? And he comes back and he kind of tells me, this is what I'm hearing. So we literally go out and we ask people, we let them give us real
Perfect.
feedback, which is how we created my Anatomy of a Love Song CD.
Oh, beautiful.
When I did that project, I went out and I did focus groups, and I let
What?
other writers tell me before I even recorded the song. I did focus groups and I said, "Is this song worthy of me recording?" So it feels kind of dangerous sometimes when you're in the middle of the creative process and you involve
You
people
don't
in
want
it.
to be crushed.
You're right, but vulnerability. You make yourself
Yeah.
vulnerable
Yeah.
and you put it out there because some of that feedback was priceless and it made
Yeah.
for a much better album, I think. So
Oh,
the same
absolutely.
thing here, I did not, I'm not, what did we want to do? No, this was the song. Take a Dose was a song that I knew was a hit song.
Yeah.
But I had the song Pressure before that, and Lose You. Pressure, I thought I should have promoted it. I should have taken that further. Um, Lose You, I thought was a very special song for the album. Sometimes you have songs that should live on the album that make people gravitate to the entire project because it's really
Okay.
different. And
Yeah.
it was of a more expressive nature that I did that song. So I'm
Mm.
super happy about it. But
That's a
then
beautiful
there are
song.
some songs that you know are going to sound a certain way on radio, be a certain tempo for the time of days when it can play and give you the most maximum exposure. And our research told us that Take a Dose was that song. We've got another one coming after Take a Dose,
Oh,
though.
okay. I'll be here. I'll be waiting. I love that. And that's so smart, to do that. Like you said, you've got to be vulnerable, but you
Yeah,
want to give people what they want.
yeah,
And of your songs, you want to know what's resonating with
yeah,
the people who are listening to your music. So
absolutely.
yeah, I commend you. We're celebrating, WHUR is celebrating our 50th anniversary.
50
And
years.
50 years of, oh my gosh. And so we had this, I thought I'd see you there. We just had a great celebration at DAR Constitution Hall. It was amazing. And, when I think about the music on WHUR over the years, I always think of Kenny Lattimore.
Oh,
I
wow.
do. I mean, you've
That makes
been
me feel great.
part of our sound for so many years. And,
Wow.
people have been helping us celebrate. I mean, we're still the #1 music station in DC. And,
Yeah.
how do you guys stay there? And I think about the artists like yourself. And so, as you're saying, thank you for your support. Thank you for all this good music.
Wow.
It
I
fits.
appreciate it. It's like you're naming me, wow, among the greats like Phyllis Hyman,
Yes.
Gene Carn,
Oh my
and
gosh. Yes.
Henderson, and Norman Connors, and Miss
Johnny
Hatterly,
Hathaway.
Johnny Hathaway.
Luther.
I mean, so many people that HUR also gave exposure to that were not considered mainstream artists, but
That's
the
right.
platform, because HUR was so powerful, some of these people became a lot bigger because the rest of the world followed in the steps of HUR.
That's
So,
right. And
I just,
primarily
yeah,
Quiet Storm.
the Quiet Storm, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
But even the formatting, I don't know, and maybe there were other stations. I don't know if there was a predecessor to HUR on this, but when I think of the Daily Drum and how
yeah.
and the Quiet Storm, and then the Caribbean
Oh,
music
yeah,
after gospel, and how the station represented the community in its fullness, and it
still,
wasn't one aspect. It wasn't even just the Quiet Storm. It was really
right,
so much of, the diaspora of Black people,
right.
and wow, this is powerful.
It's so true.
Thank
It's so powerful. It's a heritage station, and I think you're right. I mean, I don't think there's any other station in the country that has been like HUR or is like HUR. It's
Yeah,
just and it's a hard thing to even describe.
yeah,
It's just it's a vibe, and especially when DC was such a chocolate city.
right,
It right, I mean, it's still chocolate, but it's not quite as
right.
chocolate as it used to
That's right.
be.
I remember when it was dark chocolate,
Dark chocolate? Me too.
sweet dark chocolate.
Sweet dark
And I
chocolate.
love the diversity. I do. I love the diversity that we have now and the progressiveness of the city. I love that. Although it's a little more milk chocolate now, the
Yeah.
milk chocolate is still about community. And
Yeah, it's still about
just
community.
joking, everybody. Okay, but
Yes. Well,
there's
but a lot of
we
people live
understand. People from the area understand what we mean with
yes,
gentrification. All
exactly.
that. There's different people that
Exactly.
move into the area and just mix it up a bit, which makes it more diverse.
Right.
But those when it was Chocolate City, it was the people that built the city. It was something very important about that era. Of course, for our history in general, but even for the nation,
Yeah.
that people didn't realize. I think that it's like these Black folks built this city and this
That's
country,
right.
and
Another thing that was just so unique, with WHUR being Howard University Radio, just the
uh,
level of professional Black people to come
yeah,
to the Washington, D.C. area made
yes,
it very special, a very
Yeah.
special city in the country. And that was the main reason the first time I came to Washington, D.C., just happened to be Congressional Black Caucus weekend.
Oh my gosh.
I looked around and said, you know what? I
You
moved
could
like
see yourself, right? Like many people waited many years for Barack Obama to become president to believe, oh, I could be, something of this caliber. But people in DC were already a part of the system and understanding the power, and so many in other parts of the country too. But we had the opportunity to see ourselves in those positions very early, living in the DC area as well. So
right. Very
it was
unique.
beautiful
Very
and unique. Yes.
and a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Yeah.
Kenny, I just love you so much, and I so
I love you back.
appreciate you. I know you're scrambling to get out of the country, and you made time for
Baby.
us.
Had
Really,
to. Never
thank
too busy, right?
Oh, I love it. I see what you did there. Well, you know what? Kenny Lattimore is here to stay. Those who don't have his latest CD, make sure you get it and keep listening to WHUR, and you can hear all of his music.
Yeah.
But make sure you get it as well. That's what every artist needs. Every artist needs you to buy their music. So
Right.
don't
If
just
you're
listen
streaming
to
it,
it.
whatever, all digital platforms. If you want a physical copy, I think Amazon sells
Oh,
physical
good.
copies.
And shout out your social so people can follow you as well.
Just at Kenny Lattimore, Lattimore, because now we have Jacob, my little cousin, they spell this with one T. That's a whole different story, you guys.
Oh,
But
you're going to tell me about that.
yeah, that's a whole different
Yeah,
the
when you
one
get
T
back
and
from
the two
South
T's
Africa.
and the
My.
but you can find them here to stay on all digital platforms as well. And you can, even if you go to KennyLattimore.com, my website, there's an area where you can click around and buy music, see my old videos, see new videos, see where my tour schedule is, all of those great things. And check it out. Definitely
That's
check it out.
awesome. All right, everybody, follow him. Make sure you follow WHUR-FM. That's just at WHUR-FM. And while you're at it, follow me too. I'm at Angela Stribling. And like Kenny, it's just the same name on everything. That's good branding.
Yeah.
At Angela Stribling, at Kenny Lattimore, at WHUR-FM. Happy holidays, everybody. Safe travels to you, Kenny. And
Thank
we'll
you.
see
Happy holidays too. Have a wonderful time with your family and loved ones. And we look forward to seeing you when I get back.
Yay!